What's going on, fellas?
So Daniel, I've been meaning to ask you, can you do one of your little steaming tricks to my hat?
What?
I can. That I
Luke,
can, Luke.
you better
Now that
stop.
you're now that you're a workout
Bro,
artist,
get out of
you
here,
gotta
bro.
work. So
Oh,
one, you gotta get
Luke.
that absolute curl in it. But
Bro.
without further ado, we are live with episode 92. We're almost at 100, which is absolutely insane.
you don't
Like
do a good
Charlie. Do 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 do.
Daniel.
Absolutely
Just
crazy.
do the
You
noise.
got to do
Just
it the
start it
right
off and
way.
do the noise. Episode 99.
Not even 99. It's 92. So on 100,
Episode
I'll actually get a
92.
real. I'll get a real soundboard or something.
Just
But we
do the
have.
sound. Just do the
Just
sound
do the
for us so we can
sound. We
get
want you to
back to
do the
the
sound.
episode. No, you got to do it like you mean it.
I don't right now. It is so hot in the shop. That is the last thing I want to do.
That's why
So,
I'm here in this room, because this is one of the rooms in the house with AC.
oh, I was about to say you have a new background. I see. I
Yeah, so
see.
Dude,
Look
I
at
was trying to play some
you.
time on the water in the background, but it kind of looks funky.
Oh, that's hilarious. It's like a time loop. But back to it. Episode 92. We got T from Fishall. However, he is currently working, so he's going to jump on a little bit later. But we were backstage talking to that tall drink of water. So we are going to continue until then.
Mhm.
We do have a couple of announcements, so that should be fun and should fill up the time until then. Charlie, do you have anything going on, or do you know of anything going on?
Yeah, we got tackle meet this Saturday.
is it this Saturday or is it next
Yes,
Saturday?
sir. This Saturday.
The 19th,
Wait, no,
next
next
Saturday.
Saturday. Sorry.
It's next
Next
Saturday.
Saturday.
Dude, you're
Next
fucking up the whole
Saturday.
schedule.
Next Saturday tackle meet. It's gonna be at where? At the boat.
It's going to be in Long Beach. I don't have the exact address. We'll be posting it this week. I
It-
don't think Steve has posted the
yeah, he
address
did.
yet, has he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, well, we'll repost that to our stories this week.
Is it
So,
What's up,
is
Chet?
it the Costa Mesa one?
No. It's gonna be in Long Beach at the one across from what's it called?
is it Alamitos Bay?
Davies Locker.
Yeah,
Davies
Davies Launch Ramp.
Launch ramp.
Oh, interesting.
What's
Yeah, I
up,
think it's going to
Chet?
be in Alamitos Bay.
Well,
It is.
for all those that are tuning in, Monday, so yesterday, still fresh wound, like just cut open, still kind of bleeding, the band-aid still on it. Yesterday was the last day for the 2025 Spotty Bowl season. For
How'd you
me, I
do?
don't know, there might still be people fishing the last head-to-head session, but for me, it was the last session. I was going against Mr. Ludwig himself, the elusive Ludwig, and I don't know how he did.
Hey, read
The
that
numbers
message.
weren't. So Chet, I would love to. I'm actually not going to make it the 12th, which is this upcoming Saturday for everybody, the 12th, for the Spotty Bowl ceremony. I am going to be somewhere in the middle of the ocean fishing for bluefin. That is my Friday and
But
Saturday plan. So
but hold
I'm
on.
going to be
How
doing.
did you do?
I don't want to
Can't
say because
say.
I don't want Eric to get mad at me and
He
disclose
can't
numbers
say.
too soon. Yeah, so I can't say just yet. But it was a little bit tough. I had a great bite. I really enjoyed
Did
it.
you
I
have a
really
full
got
bag?
some.
He
I got a
did.
full bag. I
We'll do
got.
this like 21 questions. Were they big?
Did
Cannot
they fight
confirm or
hard?
deny. Huh?
Did you have a camera by any chance?
I mean, I had my cell phone as I
Did you film an
was.
episode? Are we going to be able to
No,
watch this on Time on the Water?
no, because I was fishing too hard for that to happen. Uh,
But you
And then
said
I
you had a
couldn't
cell
make it because
phone.
it was on a Monday.
yeah, I had my cell phone listening to music, having a good time. I was listening to dubstep. I had my heart
Just
rate
having some
probably
good
120 beats
fishing.
per. Yeah, it was me some decent fishing. So in the morning, because we fished 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. and thank God because that like 9:30 to 11 got so hot. I mean, like, I got back home and I was like radiating heat off me, trying to like finish the day off at work.
Just hot fisherman out there having his hot fisherman
fishermen's in your
summer,
area.
hot boy
Hot
summer.
fisherman summer.
It's hot thick boy
Dude,
season for sure. Summer all
I'll
day
tell you
long.
what, it's been nice going to the wall and not having to wear my slicks.
So fresh out
Yeah.
there.
Dude, just being able to wear my dickies and wear my shorts.
Well, what's funny, Luke, is I mean, I've just been going shirts and shorts in the morning. 4 a.m. just a t-shirt, no hoodie. You know, it is kind of nice. I will have to say. I mean, if you're
I prefer
fishing,
winter. I prefer wearing 3 jackets. Am I
You know what?
really dedicating myself to Calico if I'm not wearing 3 jackets?
But you know what? It's
you're downplaying your successes.
I actually like fishing in the cold. I enjoy fishing in the cold. Like I feel cozy
Because
when it's
I
hot.
treat
When it's
fishing.
hot, I got sunscreen running down my face.
I
Not at
gotta
night, but if
I gotta tell you guys, hopefully they'll be done in time for tackle meet. But my lightweight series of rods is the 2 waters rod. It's a largemouth rod that's also built for saltwater, so you can still fish spotties on it. But
didn't you tell me that you caught a 5-pound sand bass on your 2 waters rod?
that's what I was going to tell you.
Charlie, I think that's
We've
where
been.
he's going with this
It's
story right now.
it's
Way to
not a
put the
breakwall
ending
rod,
before the story.
but I've been putting in time on the breakwall just to put it through some hard tests. And yeah, it
Jeez.
handled that 5-pound sand bass pretty well.
Oh, it was just a sand bass.
It's just a
What
sand
the?
bass.
What
Sand
does
bass
that
don't count,
mean?
Charlie.
Dude.
You know, it was just a sand bass. I mean, I caught a couple. I almost. I haven't really told anyone, but I was less than a pound off the California state record Sargo. The California state record, for your information, is 4.1 pounds. I caught a 3.22 pound Sargo on the 6-inch slug. So I think I might be the first person to ever do that. So am I the greatest fisherman ever?
On your RR spike? Wait, you
No,
said
on a
on a
slug.
6-inch
On the
slug.
6-inch slug.
Which those things have pretty
the
small
6-inch slug.
mouths.
Dude.
I hooked it perfectly. I think it actually hit just where the shank of the hook was. Like it probably came down on it.
Most
and I just
of
hook-setted
the
it.
fish I catch actually hit the hook. It's funny. It's just this pattern I notice.
You know, Luke,
Typically, the ones that bite behind the hook, I don't land most of the time.
and I just think that means you're a bad fisherman. That's all it is. You should be
It
landing
probably is.
110% of all the fish that you catch.
I got to switch over to mono.
Just the numbers. What you should be doing is
I'll sneak in the background and just cut your line.
Hey, so we got any other events coming up? We got tackle meet. What else do we got?
You want to talk about what you got coming up?
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
What do I got coming up?
We'll probably start talking about it today, and episodes to come till the day of.
Oh yeah. I've been invited to do a seminar at the Fisherman's Spot.
All right, I'm getting a soundboard for episode 100.
Dude, right?
I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the soundboard for us.
It's a fly fishing seminar. And
very fun.
That's cool.
For calicos?
For calicos. I'm not the best fly fisherman in the world. So
he's coming in.
It's gonna be more centered on how to fly fish at the breakwall.
What's up, T? Why you in the back?
Fellas.
Yeah, why aren't you in the front seat?
Bro, the sun's beaming on me. and Luke's already saw the back seat.
Twice.
Oh man, this is a difficult situation we're in, boys.
Dude,
So
but
this
to be
place
honest though, for being in a truck, it looks pretty clear, bro.
hate to look down on you guys, but I wasn't gonna call and be like, "Yo, we're not doing it." Tired of hearing Charlie
No,
cry.
I to reintroduce you, I actually love the fact that you're calling in from the truck. Just to showcase that this show is anywhere and everywhere, from on the road, on the water. We have yet to have anyone call from in the air, but hey, we're not going to, sell
I don't think
ourselves
that will
short.
happen
I'm gonna
Well,
get on
close your
Wi-Fi
eyes. Let
next
me
time I'm
pick
on an
you up.
airplane.
when you go to Florida.
Yep.
I
Oh,
honestly, I would love that. You're in the middle seat and you're just like, yeah, guys, so we're headed down to Florida. I think that
Just
would be
two
legit.
strangers. Just two
yeah,
strangers.
yeah. No, I'm just closing my eyes this winter. We're skiing. We're
We're
skiing.
skiing. So before we
Yeah,
start, before
you
you
know,
reintroduce, hold on, Daniel, hold on. Luke, finish what you were gonna say. You got your
the
seminar
tall
coming
glass
up.
of water.
Hold on.
We can talk about it next episode.
Why
No,
can't he
you
just
got a
do it right
seminar.
now?
Okay, Snoop Dogg.
I want to
Yeah,
know
he got
about
a
the
sem.
seminar.
He got
Yeah.
invited to a
So
seminar
it's a fly fishing seminar.
for
I'm
calicos.
for calicos. I'm not the
At the
best
break
fly
wall?
fisherman, but I know the wall. So the seminar is going to be more centered on how to fly fish the break wall and how to position the boat, where to be, what to do, how to get down, how fast you want to get down, how to stay in the zone. So it won't be your typical fly fishing seminar that's about, it's going to be more about boat placement. And I still got to work out the details, but it's going to be cool because there's not a lot of people fly fishing the break wall.
Not a
I
lot of
think
fly
that's
guys out
awesome.
there.
No,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, so quick story
You
before
can
your
catch more
introduction.
honeys looking
I
fly,
got
though.
I got rolled up on by Harbor Patrol, and they're like, "Hey, we need to check all your
And they said, "What
lockers."
up, Luke?"
No, they go, "We need to check all your lockers." And I had Simon and Jamel on the boat with me, and we need to check all the lockers. I go, "You can check them, but I mean, we just got out here." And they go, "You that guy that fly fishes?" And I go, "Yeah." They're like, "Nah, you're cool." And they drove off.
What?
And they drove off. And Simon and Jamel are like, "Oh, I didn't know you had that kind of pull out here."
That's right.
Are you the
What?
guy that
Dude,
fly
that's
fishes?
sick.
I like how you're known for fly fishing over the copious amount of
Calico,
bass and normal
right?
fish that you've caught on, conventional or even spinning reel.
Well, I think it's just because they go and they check people, and they're like, What are these fly rods at the wall?"
All
That's
right.
rad.
Go for it, Daniel.
Dude, that's funny.
Let's get this started.
So we have
Introduce it.
episode 92. Like I said, the tall glass of water. I'm super excited to have you, T, from your truck. Like I was saying before, on the road, on the water, wherever you are. This is where this show, thrives and comes from. We want to talk with anyone and everybody. It doesn't matter where you are, what you're fishing, or what you're doing. There's a conversation to be had and fun to fun to be fun. So we're excited to have you, T. Which
Well, I
is, I
appreciate you
almost want to
guys.
say,
I
what, your
really do.
second time or third time?
Yeah,
Second
the
time.
first
Second time.
time, the first time I did it, it was more of like fish all and all that other stuff, taking a break, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to talk fishing.
Well,
But
I gotta say, a lot of people know you from YouTube. They know you from Fish All. They know you from iRod. Um, I get
but no
to
one
talk.
knows
The
me.
tackle
I'm
shop.
just
I I get to talk to you on the phone. I get to have conversations with you, and they're rarely less than an hour. And I think I've got off the phone with you before and looked, and it was a 3 hour conversation. And I don't think a lot of people know that you're the kind of person that will like. If I got some stuff to call up and talk about, you're the kind of person that will hash it out for 3 hours.
yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy because my conversations are usually like 2, 3 minutes, just straight to the point, or like an hour, 2, 3 hours. There's not. It's
Yeah.
rarely in between. And I mean, dude, 3 kids, bro. I have a wife, and and I'm working in these trucks. It's if you catch me, you catch me. If you don't, I mean, it is what it is. You know, we're all adults, and I do try to make time when somebody says, "Hey, I need to talk to you." Then we end up having those 3 hour conversations. I try to allot time for everybody, but you just can't. And I'm nobody important or anything like that, but everybody has like busy schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've definitely shared long conversations and eye contact.
Like
Lots of
contact.
eye
Ooh,
contact.
Mm,
no blinking.
but it's true. It's true. We've had a lot of conversations as well. So I'm very happy you're hopping on with us and
Yeah,
see
man.
what's going on. But
You,
what do you have up your sleeves? What's going on with you, T?
you would know more than anybody, right? So yeah, I mean me and Charlie, going into like the iRod thing, I took a break and then you know, it's still kind of like my responsibility to promote the coastals. And so I hit up Matt and I said, look, dude, we're gonna start this IG page. But I didn't want to do it by myself. I'd been there, done that. It's too much work to try to do it by yourself. And then you miss a lot of things. So
Mm-hmm.
the first person I called was Charlie. And the reason why I did that is I think Charlie's honest, and we've had so many different conversations about, you know, personal stuff, fishing stuff, to work related stuff. And when you can mesh with somebody like that, and he was open at the time, that was another thing. Like, Dolan, you have Fish RX, and then Luke, you have your charters.
No,
Eh,
it's okay.
eh,
I understand that you just called me dishonest on live TV. It's okay.
you're you're welcome.
He said you have a lot going on.
I
Yeah,
know.
no, you know, it's like Charlie was the first who I called, so we're credit to him, he's doing pretty much everything. He's grown the iRod Coastal page, and we talk so much about the marketing aspect. We've seen a, a lot of sales come in. Like you see, iRods are actually a thing again, and we talk to different tackle shops, and they're like, "Dude, we're selling these." Especially when Phoenix left, or when they got bought out and then relocated,
Mm.
that left the door wide open for iRod. And so with this page and with Charlie, I, I've kind of gave him a business proposition. I don't want to just make this about like social media and stuff. I actually want to make him a partner. And you know, we still have all these things that we have to fine tune, all these things that we have to prepare ourselves for. And I think when we're ready to launch what we're trying to do, these new rods are gonna. No, I'm just playing. I will never sell to new rod companies. It's like, thanks, Matt Newman. I'm taking everything. Now I'm gonna do it on my own. Yeah, no, but all serious about that, it's like I've done so much for iRod. And then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, it's cool to see iRod go, but I still need to progress, right? So what me and Charlie are working on is like we'll still be able to do a lot of the iRod stuff, but then I can actually like introduce things that I've been wanting to do for years outside of just clothing. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even want to do clothing at the time, but I felt like a lot of the designs I came out with were very original, very creative, very unique. And so I want to step into the bait market somehow, some way, like and not like plastics or anything like, but rigging ideas that
Mm-hmm.
there's yeah, it's a lot. But Charlie's gonna be my guy, my partner in crime. I'm probably gonna see him in the future more than his wife will see him. So
Oh,
putazos, we gonna have to fight for that Charlie time.
nah, but
This this is this
yeah,
is sounding this is sounding really hot.
no,
Yeah, you like that.
nah,
Yeah.
but it's
Yes.
it's it's
You
pretty
only
cool
want to
to.
fight for Charlie.
It's pretty cool. Like, to be honest, it's pretty cool to be a part of, something that I fished for a long time, and then just
Yeah.
see it grow into something that we've put together, a couple of us. So, but also, man, like, just, I don't know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what
I,
happens.
well, one thing that I've learned, if anybody's watching that's interested in trying to do something, is everyone says if you're gonna do something, just do it. And that's fine, like to get out there to just do it. But if you want to make it to the next level, you definitely have to have the infrastructure. You have to make sure that you have time allotted for whatever you're trying to do. You have to
Mm-hmm.
have some type of financial backing, whether you're going to sell and then reinvest. See, when I started Fishaw, I was using all the money I was making to provide for my family. And they say, "Oh, you're not going to make money for 2 to 3 years." And then here I was right off the back paying rent or, paying all the bills with selling shirts and
Yeah.
hats. But I was never able to keep up with the demand. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a good problem to have, but it's also really bad too. If if you can't consistently get apparel or consistently get hats and you don't know how much to invest in, then what ends up happening, you're either going to miss margins or you're going to miss profits or you're going to use your profits and stuff that you can't sell. And part of the infrastructure process is just being smart and and learning and doing your research and understanding what you're getting into. So that's
Well,
why I'm taking my time, dude.
I remember back when you were going hard with official, I'd call you up and be like, "Hey T, I need a new hat. They're not on the site," and you'd be like, "Yeah, I'll let you know when I get more in." I'm like, "When are you gonna get more in?" You're like, "I don't know when they get them made." And I remember
Yeah.
thinking, like, what is that? How does he not know when he's getting more hats? And
Yep.
now it's
Now
like
you get it.
now
Now
I
you
get
get
it. Now I
it.
get it. And
It's
so, like
it's
you said, then you end up going like, okay, well, I'm going to sell X amount of hats. I'm going to order triple, so I'm not running out in between orders because they're everything. You can't just, hey, I need more hats and get more hats tomorrow. And everything has that aspect. Hats is
yeah.
just an example, but every aspect of like every, including your packaging, like everything has that aspect. And I just remember at the time not getting it. And like you said, if you don't have it planned out right, it's not going to go right.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I was one of the fortunate ones because, but at the same time, I've always been one of those dudes. Like, if my back's on the wall, that's when I do my best, and and I felt like that was the case with Fishaw. I felt like that was the case with iRod at some points too. Is all right, I'm forced to do this because I have to provide for my family. Now that I'm not in that position, it's like I'm forcing myself to learn as much as I can and set everything else up in motion because I don't project that where me and Charlie had come out and it's like, okay, we did this or we did this. It's like, no, dude, marketing is going to be good. Photography is going to be good. Video is going to be good. We're going to have key players that we've done certain things with that has helped us with marketing. And then we'll have the background stuff ready to be able to supply what we've been trying to promote. So I don't foresee us selling like 10 items. I foresee us creating a craze in a sense but we're just not to that point yet. There's still a lot of the background pieces first and then you come out with the concepts and then you refine those concepts before you release them. And
A lot of logistics still.
this fishing industry, it's like you don't want to release anything because you'd find that there's like 20 different people watching what you're doing,
Hmm.
and then while you're still in the refining process you'd realize that like this company right here, they have better resources or better assets to be able to beat you to the punch, but you were the one that threw the jab. So I've learned all that
Yeah.
with Fishaw, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna take our time with this because at the end of the day, if me and Charlie did or didn't do what we're trying to do, we're still gonna go to work, we're still gonna be husbands, we're still gonna fish when we can, we're still gonna be tuning in on these lives. Like life is not going to stop. So the only thing that you could do is to make sure that you're prepared for when we go into the fast lane, baby. Because it is the fast lane, man.
Well,
It's you
it's
Well,
guys
man,
know.
you know what?
Also,
Like, I don't know how it was for you in the beginning. Like, I mean, I met you when you already had started, maybe like 3 years, 4 years into Fishall, right? Like, Fishall was established when I started messing with, like, getting your stuff. But
oh wow, I knew him before he started it.
oh man, you
Let's see a
probably
save on.
did. Shit,
hey T,
you probably because you went to
I
save
didn't know
on,
you.
fool.
Mm-hmm. Was that?
Because you went to save on, you knew who T was. But what I was gonna say is, like, I see what Luke goes through, because he's starting his company, and it's hard, man. It's hard. You got to put time. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you got to put time in. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah. Meaning,
The
I'm. Go ahead.
I was going to say the thing with the fishing industry too is it's only going to get bigger. More people are coming on to fishing every single year. You know, we already had a huge spike, so it's like it's just whether or not it's this year or next year or the year after, as long as what you're providing, is, like you said, is stepped and clean and good to go, there's
It
just going to be
look
more of a market.
as long as what you're providing is unique and original, and you constantly try to innovate and you constantly try to get better, you'll make it. If you produce what's already out there, and we see this in the fishing industry, everything is a knockoff. You'll catch me throwing knockoff dark sleepers, bro, because why am I going to pay $10 versus $3, or three for five
Especially
with the
when they don't
knockoffs?
want to upgrade the hooks because they don't think we're
Like,
big enough and
dude,
we're a
I
big enough
mean,
fishery. So
save
I
on
don't even want to
save
get into how mad they make me about those
yeah.
things.
Well, I mean, Savon was one of the first shops to get the dark sleepers, and it's crazy because the dark sleepers is like one of the baits that I love the most and I actually hate the most because of the hook,
Hmm.
because of the plastic.
Dude.
And I look at these little things that they could do, like, oh man, should I share? Okay. I've never understood I've never understood. Say we have a dark sleeper, and you have the plastic that conforms around the jig head and the weight, right?
Hmm.
I've
Hmm.
never understood why they didn't just put like a hard plastic in front of it, like a cone thing in front of it where the line tie comes out. So now when that dark sleeper bangs on the rock or something, it's that plastic hitting the rock. It's to me
Yeah, and not just ripping the
it's
plastic off.
and it seems so dumb, but I've actually tried it out. My kids had these little plastic ball toys, and it was like a fake candy jelly bean machine, right? And
Hmm.
you'd get these ones ever so often where like they're weird oval shapes. So all I did is I took a plastic one, put a hole through it so the line side can come out, and then I had the head of the dark sleeper, and I went over it, and I hit it with a lighter, and it closed. So
Hmm.
now, guess what? That dark sleeper's nose will never, never get like snagged.
Never
That's where it
bust
gets
off.
snagged and bust off, right? And it's just like to me, that's a simple fix, and I didn't really want to share that, but
Now you did.
You heard it
but
here
at the end of the
first,
day,
So
folks.
but
Now
but
it's
but
now it's gonna live on you. Your idea is gonna live on YouTube now.
well, it's I said it so when people, it is.
I
I don't think I'm.
know I know multiple people that have talked to the company said in Southern California we need stronger hooks, and they basically
Oh,
said you're not a big enough fishery
yeah. Okay.
for us to
So look.
invest that money into it. So I caught a 6 pound sand bass on a dark sleeper, and that hook was straightened
Sheesh.
out, and the fish was just hanging on by the barb, barely by the barb on a straightened hook. And it
Yeah.
just kind of turned into I can't trust that I'm going to land a 9 pounder on this or a 10 pounder.
S- So if you fish heavy line, heavy drag, you're going to bend the hook out. But if you're fishing what you're supposed to, originally the dark sleepers were for smallmouth bass.
Hmm.
They're for largies that are
Hmm.
eating gobies, but primarily the number one fish caught on those baits are how they advertised it was smallmouth. Smallmouths are the closely most related fish to spotties, in my opinion, because of the smaller mouth. Largies,
Hmm.
it's like a vacuum. They open their mouth and close it, and you can put a depth 250 in a 2 pounder. But for spotties and like say smallies, the spotty's mouths are a lot smaller, but not by much. So the dark sleeper was created, in my opinion, for smallmouth. But anytime you see guys or professionals that go fish these big lakes that have smallies, I pay close attention to what they're using because it really translates to spotties a lot. So when I saw the video or the promo video for the dark sleepers, I'm like, dude, that's gonna be the best wall bait you can buy if it
Hmm.
has a strong hook, if the plastic is durable. So when with Z-Man decided they were going to create their dark sleepers, if there's one company that I could get sponsored by or actually work for, it'd be Z-Man. I go in there and I'm like, yo, the ideas I have, it'll ruin the industry, but at the same time, I'll make a lot of money and my kids can go to a good college. It's a balance. But I look at what they're doing and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, you see what everybody is doing. you see how big no live bait needed got big in the East Coast. You're seeing what like just I wouldn't say duplicate, but be a little original. But that plastic, although it sucks to store, that plastic is if you think of a dark sleeper, it's like okay, we just solved the problem with the plastic ripping, but then they use this like -1x hook on the Z Man. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, you guys done like whoever is the guy in charge of this for Z Man, you suck. Like straight up, you suck. And then
If you go back to our old episodes, I think it was like the first 15, we did every episode saying "fuck you, Z-Man."
yeah,
No,
and
Luke,
no,
I
no.
cannot believe you said
I
that
think
right
it was
now.
just you, Luke.
yeah.
Yeah, we did every
What
episode with me
You
saying
killed
it.
me.
So you
where
guys,
did Z Man touch you?
you, you, you
We
guys
got
who've been
Phil in
you
the
guys who've been
chat.
around
What's up,
since the beginning.
Phil?
You
Z
guys who've
Z
been
Man
around since the
touched me in
beginning,
the
you'll remember,
chatterbait.
right? I
Oh,
was just
A
gonna
Phil.
say they
chatterbait?
touched in the chatterbait.
Yeah, the Z Man. The
Daniel
fact that
got
they
a
have
Daniel got
hands
a
on
cease
the
and
name of the
desist.
chatterbait, the blade of the chatterbait, and the connection of the chatterbait, you're like, yo, it's insane.
Daniel and one of his buddies were starting to do a chatterbait thing, and they got hit with the
Still,
letter.
still are. We just had to
Still are
change
doing
some
it, but
stuff
they just
Yeah,
got
around.
to rename it.
I like it.
They got to
They
change
just
some
got to
stuff
rename
around.
it.
Yeah, I mean, but that goes back to what I was saying is like everything in the fishing industry is a knockoff. So if you could take like a base standard bait and then you just look at it and you say, how can I make this better? Or you take another step back and you look at companies that are doing it right, products that are doing good, and you look at why their bait is doing good and how you like this bait, and you just like fuse the concepts together to create something unique to you. And with like front facing sonar, we see it in the bass fishing scene. There's like no creativity.
Hey,
All the
Charlie, Pinfill's
professionals,
comment.
mm, all the
Keep
professionals
going,
right now,
T.
they're
Why?
all using
Why are we doing this?
him too. Yeah. No, you
I'm like,
you
why are
see
we
right
doing
now
this?
in the like the overall fishing industry, there hasn't really been anything. At least these past couple years, there hasn't been any like crazy innovation. You guys are
But
talking about
wait,
the
let me tell. Hey,
chatterbait.
but wait, you went up to
Dragon
fish
tail.
with you went up to fish with Matt, and you were using front facing sonar. Talk about how was it? Is
Dude,
it
the first
is
time,
it not?
all right, we'll talk about that trip. Okay. Love you, Matt. But when you fish on somebody's boat that has front facing sonar and they're not allowing you to use it primarily, it sucks. It really does. Because you get one guy that's like kind of just like, oh, he's right there and he casts there and we're in 60 feet of water. So by the time I make the cast there, he sees the fish leaves. So then he tries to find it again. He's trolling that way, but I'm still fishing 60 feet of water that way. So then you're reeling up and so all day I try to catch fish. We caught some here and there. And Matt totally obliterated it. But towards the end of the day, we were getting ready to leave. There's this brush pile of like kind of tree brush hybrid, whatever you want to call it. There's a brush line, and Matt sees a bunch of big fish on it. So he's getting a go at it, and he's casting his swim bait, and he's trying to tick the top of the brush. And the whole time in my head, I'm just like, "Well, fuck those fish." Bass eat when they want to eat. It is what it is, right? And so he's done. He's like, "Oh, I'm over it." And then I reeled in my 250, and I was like, "Yo, bro, do you think if I can I get a cast on him?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So I bomb a cast out. Uh, I'm watching the bait sink. And then right when it gets close to that brush, I was gonna start reeling it in. But then I just decided, well, fuck it, dude. If I get snagged, like I'll just go on top and I'm fishing 20 pound, like 20 pound Iser, bro, breaks over 30 for me. So I'll just
Oh
rip the
yeah.
bitch out. So I try to get the bait 2 feet into the brush. And when I felt like it was in that zone, I reeled in and I'm feeling it come through the brush. Right when it's starting to get hung up, I just snapped the rod like that. And when I'm reeling in the slack, I saw the line jump. And I reeled in, set the hook, and it was dead weight. And right there is kind of that moment. It's like you're in rough territory. You know that like you're potentially snagged. So you don't want to pull too much because if
Hmm.
you're really sag, and you're in the brush where your line's going like this, your line's rubbing all on that brush. As suppose if I
Yeah.
did get snagged, we go right on top of it and I can pull up and I'm not, abrasing my line too much. So I go like this and I look straight at my rod and I see the rod just kind of going like this. Wow, dude, I reeled down more and it was a fish. Got her up. The morning of, Matt says somebody's gonna catch an 8 today, and I'm like, when I caught the 8, I'm like, oh, you caught it, and in my head, I'm like, you should have said 14 pounds, but all right, whatever. And
I'll
then
take the 8.
what's crazy is literally the next day, right? So I post it the next day or 2 days later. Matt calls me that the day before, which was the next day, some kid stuck a 12 on a HUD casting at the brush piles. So Matt had found the big girls. And he, if I could just take a little moment here, Matt, he fishes ocean, he fishes fresh, he's done tournaments, he's run a business. He's like a mentor to me. Like I've always looked up to him as like, oh, man, that guy is dope. And then when I got to know him, you realize, man, dude's just a regular person. He kind of shaped how I became in the fishing industry, especially when Fish All was doing a lot of things and we were hosting a lot of events. And I kept that humility that I guess he kept with me, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I've
Mhm.
always looked up to the dude not only for his character, but like honestly his fishing abilities. So when you get to fish with somebody like that and you do good in front of them, man, it's the best feeling in the world, dude. I've caught PBs just like everybody, right? And I've watched people on my boat catch their PBs multiple times. But I would say that that's like the best feeling when you look up to somebody and then you do something spectacular, and then they just like, "Good job, kid. I'm glad I didn't get another dude or guy." Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe my dad didn't tell me he
Hey,
loved me
dude,
enough. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you, no joke. When I started fishing with Luke, I mean, Luke's been fishing longer than me, right? But we were consistently going out, and I'm like on a mission, right? Like I kept losing a lot of fish, and he's like, "You just
You
gotta
lost
stay at it.
you
You just
lost a
gotta
lot
stay
of
at it,
fish.
right?" And dude, when I started dude, when I first broke my 5, I was so stoked, dude. And then
Yeah,
like, it's like I was learning, right? I was
yeah.
learning what to do and what not to do, and then just kept upgrading. Then I went with you, and it was like, bro, I caught a freaking 8-pound sand bass. And I mean, I fished with you one time before that, but you're one of the guys who are like, damn, tease like a stick. To do that in front of you was pretty cool, man. And then an
You,
eight
you,
pounder in front of Luke, which is another one.
you know, you hear that term stick, right? And I look at like what makes a stick. In my opinion, it's like a stick is somebody that if you're stuck in somewhere you've never been and the only thing that you can eat is fish, can that person go and catch a fish to eat? That's a stick to me, man. I've fished with dudes that like just throw swim baits, but then you see them try to fly line a bait or they don't get basic principles of current. And I'm like, he's really good at this, but he sucks balls at all this. I went fish with dudes that like caught catfish and stuff like that, but couldn't, they set the hook on a drop shot like it's a 20-pound, bass, and
Hmm.
they're snapping lines. And you make the rookie mistakes, but it's can you adapt to certain situations and at the end of the day be successful? That's what makes a stick to me, man. And I don't know how we got this far. I, I'm 36 now, and it's crazy from my eyes. I still kind of view myself like that teenager. So there's been times where people have said, "Man, he's a stick," or people say that guy's a good fisherman, and I've never tried to take credit for it. But then I'm at this age now where I'm just like, dude, start taking it in, bro. I've been, you know what I mean? Like I've been
You
doing
worked
this.
hard for it.
Yeah, like when I was 18 and I looked at dudes like Matt Newman. Matt Newman was like 30 years old. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm looking at him like he's legendary, and now I'm 36. It's like, dude, you gotta intake that in, but still be humble, And
Of course.
yeah. You know, and then you see like social media and stuff has kind of like hindered that a little bit. You see guys, oh, I got 5, 6,000 followers. All of a sudden, my shit don't stink, and I'm like, well, player, go. You know, you see a lot of that. You see so many different type of like new style
because
fishermen, and I bring this up especially like for somebody like you, Luke, who does this for a living now, right? I think it becomes up to us to kind of teach the newer generation as much as we can how to go about it. Because when I was coming up and I was a teenager, there was older dudes at the park that was some, hey, dude, 5 pound, 4 pound bass, throw them back, dude. I'm like, why, dude? My neighbor wants to give me $20 for bass. No, dude, you
Yeah.
gotta let them grow. You gotta, you know. But then I look at their stringer and they had like 10 bass. And I'm just like, you're killing 10 fish versus me killing this one. They're like, well, that's a breeder. And I'm like, but how long did it take for these 1 pound, 2 pound bass to be 1 pound, 2 pound? And then this old timer, he comes up to me. He's like, look, if we let all these little ones just run amok, these big ones are going to get smaller and they're going to eventually die off.
Yeah.
And like, these are basic principles that to them, and then to me, it's just like, whoa. And now we're at this age where I feel like those dudes that, they're the old bass that died off, and now we're the big ones. We got to kind of regulate the small ones as much as we can. And I sit back
So
and I observe.
what I'm getting from this, and what I want to say to the community is, start keeping spotties. Start eating them. It's okay.
dude,
Still the big ones
only
Nah,
win.
nah.
only
Well,
the ones
the
only the ones under 14 inches.
hold on.
the the
So
the reasons the reasons why I disagree with the spotty aspect of it is because the dog situation has gotten so bad in the harbors.
Yeah.
For
And
the largemouth bass is different because in ponds, they are top dogs. They're the apex
Mhm.
predator, and these park
yeah, yeah,
lakes and
yeah,
these
yeah.
ponds and these here in Southern California, we don't have river systems. We have reservoirs. So if you take a 10 pounder, that you just killed a lineage of fish right there. That was a
Mhm.
good breeder. That's a good genetic line, and so I would say keep those smaller ones. And I've always been like that. Anytime I've done freshwater fishing and I took some dudes, I'm like, hey, you want to keep a couple of these? They're like, dude, we don't eat bass. You're a poacher. I'm like, do you know what a poacher is? Like,
they get mad at you.
yeah, I mean, like, I get it, dude. If you, to me, I don't want to call people ignorant, but like, if you don't have that sense of mindset, you don't understand that this isn't just for like the industry itself, the market, the industry has convinced us that it's not okay to keep bass. The industry has taught us and tricked us into thinking you need to buy all these lures and you can't use live bait for largemouth bass because of the competitive scene and the professional market. Everybody's trying to promote their products. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, I'll take my son crawdad fishing for largies. Now, if I stick a 7, 8, 9, 10 pounder on a largie, you won't ever see me post it because that's just a moment between me and my son.
Yeah.
But
I thought you were going to
but
be
if
like, and that's when I put the hub in, and then I promote the hub
yeah,
or the
yeah,
HUD.
yeah, I
You
mean,
swap
yeah,
baits. You swap
hold that
baits.
iRod. Yeah, hold that. If I was legit,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that'd
Come
be
on,
the best
son.
and easiest way. That's the best, easiest way to promote a product, right? Just go use live bait, dude, and bait hang whatever product. And you know what's crazy is I've actually caught people here do that. Where I caught a
Yeah.
dude fishing live crawdads at Ralph B. Clark who had a significant following at the time. Then I called him out on some of the forums. This is when I was like, shit, 18, dude. I called him out on these forums. You had these like garage bait makers giving out baits to anybody who catch 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pounders. And back in that time, you can go to Alondra and catch a 6 pounder. You
Yeah.
can go to Ralph. My stretch was La Mirada, Ralph B. Clark, and Laguna. And I knew at what times they did. I went there every single day. If I didn't fish, I was mad, bro. You can ask my wife about that. I would sacrifice sleep, bro, and be out there till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning trying to catch fish. And I look back, I'm like, why? You're fucking stupid. And now it's crazy. I'm 36 years old, dude. If I don't get 8 hours of sleep, dude, my knees hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm yawning right now because I didn't get
No,
8
for
hours of
reals,
sleep.
dude.
It's
Dude.
it's
For
you know
reals.
I I think about it. If I took that passion and I applied it to fitness, dude, I'd be buff T, dude. Like, if you took that passion, you applied it to anything else, you'd be wildly successful. And I kind of had a little splur of that with fish oil. I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning, it was like every day, constantly, every day. Even when I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't selling anything, I'm reading like different analytics and like what are these websites doing? And I found these little tricks to see how much other companies, who are my rival competitors, how much they're selling. And I'm every day was a constant like battle to go to sleep, honestly, because if if I was able to go to sleep, I felt like I deserved it. I felt like, all right, today was a good day. It was a productive day. I learned a lot. I executed whatever. But if I felt like I didn't do anything, it hurt me. So I go back in my office and go back to work again. And those times I went back in the office were like the best, most productive times for me because that little reset, I was able to figure out a new brand, a new concept for a design. I was short pounding. I couldn't go to sleep. I was short pounding Alondra. And then my old lady called me and I told her I'm short pounding. She's like, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, "Well, I'm fishing Alondra from the shore." She's like, "Oh,
From
I thought you
shore.
took your I thought you were taking your boat out." I was like, "Nah, this is like the easiest." And it's like therapeutic. And when we hung up,
Yeah.
I kind of sat there and I'm like, short pound and it just stuck. And I reeled in my bait, and I just went straight back home. Didn't even worry about catching the fish, but that was the inspiration. That one phone call. So I was in between designs, and I hit up my graphic designer. I'm like, dude, I have this idea for short pound. Man, there's a very unique picture with me and my buddies over there in Bishop. So I sent them the picture, and it became this design. And this is crazy. The short pound is not even the best design that we did, but it was one of the most successful ones because
Mm-hmm.
I was releasing, but then I'm like, all right, well, I want to do something different. So how about this? I'll let the customer pick the color shirt that they want. And that went nuts, bro. I had dudes getting army green. I had a couple pinks. I had red. I had digital camo. And you getting all these, and it was a pre-order, so it was like no investment to me. It was the best idea at that time for me. And I'll be honest, dude, like rent was late. By the time I dropped everything, I was late with rent like 3 days. And this one pre-order right here, I took a big gamble where it's like, this is how much everything's going to cost for me to make, and this is how much my profit will be. But if I use the profit in advance to pay for my house, if something was to go wrong here, I'm fucked. Like I'm done,
Mm-hmm.
right? Say the design came out bad and they ruined all the shirts, and that's happened to me twice already. I'm out. I still have to fulfill everybody's orders. The worst thing you could do is drop a pre-order and don't deliver. That's
Hmm.
that's like that's you don't need to go to school to know that, but yeah, man.
So let's talk some calico fishing because you're a big calico guy, but you're mostly freshwater as well, right? So what you want to
Um,
talk? Let's talk calicos.
I mean, I got into saltwater more because of iRod, right? And then I found it like once you get into calico from your own rig and you treat the learning process like you did with freshwater, I didn't even want to touch largemouth bass because at that time it was like, dude, why am I going to go to Diamond Valley, spend 2 hours driving, 2.5 hours driving back? And I hate towing. Luke knows this. I hate towing my boat in traffic. I feel like somebody's going to rear end me, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like I got to deal with the insurance and whatever. So once I started doing the calico, I've always done it, but primarily from like sport boats or going with like friends or customers on their boats. And I always thought, it's just calico. Do you just throw a bait at the rock and you kind of jig it and you get bit? But then I start learning, current. I start learning like kelp lines. I start learning how to find the bait. I start learning to look in the water for like the plankton and the bait feeding. And I can start building like this historical data. And what I've come to realize is it's very simple. Calico fishing, It's very simple, guys. If the small ones are biting, the big ones are on the bottom. When the small ones stop biting, you're gonna catch a big one if you do hook on something. That simple logic right there has made me wildly successful. Not only for me catching sand
Now,
bass and calico, but for like people who I take out.
so quick question. What if the small ones are on the bottom and biting as well?
What if the what?
The small ones, because you were talking about if the small ones are feeding, then the big ones are down below feeding. What if they're all intermingled? Or will they?
All right, I'll give you some logic here. I weigh 240, 250 pounds, and you put me in this box, a big room. It's like a 20 by 20 box. And then you put nine super fit African dudes. It's 10 of us in there. And you drop nine chickens in this box. What's the likelihood that I catch a chicken?
Very unlikely.
I don't care who's in that room. I'm
I'm getting
leaving
a
with the
chicken.
chicken. I'm leaving
Yeah.
with the chicken.
Okay. And that's fine. It's like now imagine you have to do that every single day. And what you'd
Yeah.
find is that if you are going to be successful at catching a chicken, it's it's not about you trying to catch the chicken. It's about you trying to take it away from one of the dudes
Yep.
using brute force, or you just so happen to sit there and a chicken runs up to you during all the panic. And that's what the big calico that's what the big calico do. Sand bass are a lot different because they move into these mega schools, bro, and you see this off of Isers, and they just kind of run amok and do their thing.
But sometimes they'll be hanging with the calicos, acting like calicos.
I agree.
Really?
I agree. So
But
like when
but
you're fishing
but
the break wall, right? You know that you could fish a whole stretch of the wall and catch onesies and twosies here, and all of a sudden you get into a flurry. And the reason why I feel that way is that wall is like a freeway on both sides, and traffic is
hmm
just going. And these fish, they're transient fish through that wall. Now, there's certain parts of that wall that I will spend more time on because I know there's bigger boulders and there's bigger gaps in between these bigger boulders. And you know that's Beverly Hills right there. That's Malibu. That's Thousand Oaks. That's where the big ones live. They come out, they eat. So you fish those areas and you see if they want to play. If they play, you have a good shot at them. When I took Charlie out, we were catching the small ones, and in the bottom, I was catching the slightly bigger grade. But then the bite shut off. So I took Charlie where I know there's like these two big boulders on the other side of the wall. Put the boat right there. Charlie makes this perfect cast with this like chatter shaky head, which is cool to try. I
hmm
just thought it was dumb, but it worked obviously.
we
Next, you know,
produced on those in the past.
yeah,
Dude.
next you know, he's Bendo Petronas. And then I'm like, holy shit, that's a real one. And he's like, can't turn the handle. And you knew it, but then he got it up. And it was like the boat was positioned just right to where like that swell that had came in helped push her over. We're fishing the high tide, and he was able to land that fish. Had it been like a lower tide, he would have never landed the fish. Had there not been that swell that there was that day, I doubt he would have landed that fish. But you take all that into
Damn.
consideration, well, because you got to understand, dude, that like I'm watching you the whole time, and
If
then
Steph
right,
Curry was shooting the three while Charlie was hooking, he
Uh-huh.
wouldn't have landed it.
oh damn, don't
Well,
put me on the spot like that. But
well, to your point of chickens in a box, right? You know, if we're all four in a room and we got the chicken in here, I'm not chasing chicken around. As soon as one of you guys looks like you're having trouble with your chicken, I'm walking in and taking it. And it's no,
yeah,
and it's the same point. Like I usually have a heavier rod with a larger bait on the boat that I might not use that night, but I get in that bite where there's a lot of fish feeding. All of a sudden, that big one comes out, and you start working a little slower, and you feel the fish hitting it, and then you feel the big one will come in to take it from them.
Well, that's exactly what
yeah.
was happening when we were fishing with T. It was, it's like let the little ones try to eat it, right? Maybe
But
take a
get
Yeah.
little bit out of their mouth, and then
but
that
get
big one will
some.
come.
But yeah, it needs to be big enough that the little ones can't grab it, and
So then goes
that's where I'll really utilize 8-inch fluke from sudden impact and the 6 3/4 sugar shaker, because those little ones can't get a hold of it, and you can just keep working it through them.
Yeah, so that's why when I first started this, I said that if there's the small ones here, the big ones are on the bottom. If the small ones stop eating, that's your best time to catch a big one. It's like the small
I
ones, like,
see what
all
you're
right, we're
saying.
good. And now the big ones, you think they got big because they swim all day? It'd be impossible for them. They got big because they learned at a certain point in their lifespan, if I just sit here and I'm patient, not only will I conserve energy, I get easier meals, right?
Got a
So
question.
then, so what's the question? I can barely see.
Do you guys find that you catch bigger fish when you what?
Specifically target them.
Do you find if you specifically target fish? Okay, well,
Big fish. Do you catch big
it,
fish?
all right. Well, I mean, who did I talk to about this? But I'm like, the worst thing that I see people do, and I'll answer the question, Tom. Nice to see you too, bro. Oh man, is when you see people blind casting. It's like, all right, do that in the beginning, whatever, but then you start to see that's just how they fish. And you're like, oh, I don't want to tell this guy anything. I want to help people, but I also don't want to come off as like arrogant or like, oh, look at this guy
And
just because he has a
sometimes
boat, he
people aren't
knows it
open to
all.
hearing it.
Yeah, and then
What you
I
say,
don't want to
Luke?
cause that awkwardness.
I said
He
sometimes
says
people aren't
sometimes,
open to hearing it.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, imagine if somebody's been fishing for 10 years and they're just blind casting. I go out and if I haven't fished a certain area, I'm more interested in the area. The fish is just a bonus, dude. And and,
Yeah.
and a lot of people go out there with the intention to catch fish, but it's just like you do this like spotty fishing, for instance. You get guys that go flip pillars and they cast out and they're expecting to get bit. And then it's just like at a certain point in time, are you gonna try a new bait? Are you gonna try to dumb your line down? Are you gonna try casting areas you never caught? Like I see people fish MDR and then I never really see anybody looking for eelgrass out in the middle channel. I always see everybody just like flipping docks. Oh, what we're gonna do today, we're gonna cast this bait parallel to this wall like everybody else. And it's like that's fine. But then you do that for 2 years, you realize you didn't really learn anything, dude. And I'm different. I always wanted to try to learn,
Have you found
learn.
eelgrass in MDR?
Yeah, dude, some of the best bites I've ever had at MDR came on just random eelgrass patches in the middle of channels and in between basins. So if you're where Dolan lives at, that one basin right in the middle, there's apartments here and apartments here, right smack in the middle. I would just go out there and side scan all these areas, and you'd find these like 5x4, 5x3 patches of eelgrass and even before they become eelgrass and they're like stocks almost, it'd be
Hmm.
loaded with spotties. It'd be
I had
loaded with
a
spotties.
right where you're talking about. I had a day that was loaded with sand bass, and you couldn't throw a line out without getting a sand bass.
So
But
what
now
you're
you guys
telling me is
talking
they're
about fishing from your
just
boat?
past my casting
Hell
range.
yeah!
No,
Well,
I
of
mean I've
course.
done it. I've done it from shore. There's the massage parlor, the happy ending spot with the liquor store in MDR, and right there,
Where's that?
if
Say
you
what?
see I just throwing stuff out now. There's a liquor store and like a attorney spot, whatever. But it's another spot you can fish MDR, and it used to be really good fishing because that place was like loaded with eelgrass. But you would never fish the wall. You would never fish the docks. You just find these like eelgrass clumps, and once you found the eelgrass clumps, all you have to do is just swim your bait through it. Because now this is where the our thinking hats come in, right? You're MDR, and that shit's infested with sea lions. The bass, the smaller ones, they can get away from these dogs easily, bro. That's why they're always on these pillars at the edge. That's why you're going to catch the 12, 14 inches, and every now and then you'll catch a bigger girl, but somewhere in the middle of your cast. Where are the 18 inches, 17 inches, 16 inches? Where are these
Hmm.
girls at? You know, and and,
Sheriff's
and it's
dock.
just like, e- honestly, yeah.
No, but
they're
keep
going to be in
going.
areas. They're going to be in areas that is not heavily pressured from anglers, and they're also not going to be in areas where they can easily get eaten by a dog. Because that's what spotties are, right? They're not top of the food chain. They're still bait
No.
in the whole
Yeah,
grand scheme
I've
of things.
watched quite a few seals eat them.
Yeah,
Really?
and
Kind of cool looking.
it
They play with the
I've
it
seen
is
what are those crazy birds? The
Cormorants.
osprey.
pomerans.
I seen one of those. I seen one of those try to swallow a spotty.
Yeah,
It wasn't having a fun time though.
have them try to eat a 10-inch,
Dude,
12-inch spotty, bro.
I hooked into a barracuda, decent size, not legal, but decent size. This pelican came out of nowhere, swooped that down from me, broke off my jerk bait and all that stuff, and I just watched this thing suck down a barracuda, and I went, "Oh, that was
With a
pretty
jerk bait?
good." With the jerk bait, luckily, I got it back on the dock, the bird, and pulled out the jerk bait. But he got a free lunch from me, so I mean, anything can be preyed on pretty quickly.
So
See,
for Tom's,
the first time I fished with Adam, I took him on the boat and I hooked onto a pelican, and I told Adam, I ain't touching that thing. You my
Oh, they're
deckhand, bro.
so gross.
the trick
Pelicans are
the
so
trick to
gross.
pelicans, you put them in your net.
I
No,
think
I just gotta
Because
anything
if
grab
you
him
putting.
by the neck.
no
It doesn't
I
matter.
put them in the net and you just unhook that they're you just unhook them however you want.
So there
Once
You
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 just
got
throw
are.
them
him
in
on
the
the
net,
You're
side of
they
the
in a
give
boat.
up.
20 by 20-inch cage with 4 pelicans. What do you do?
It looks like
But
eating them.
You know what's happening.
Yeah, you're
we
No, but
dead.
we
to Tom's question, do you guys find that you catch bigger fish when you specifically target them? Um, I think it's a yes and a
No.
no, right? Like I I
Yeah.
think if you go out looking for big fish, fishing big baits, yeah, you will catch some big fish. But I think there's a middle ground that I think works a little better, and that's especially like this last year, right? This last year on the wall, they didn't really want much bigger than 4-inch baits. If you went out with an 8-inch bait, you might have got one, but you were going to miss a lot. And there, I saw a lot of big fish caught on smaller baits. So I say have the appropriate size bait to match the hatch, and then maybe have a bigger one tied on and ready to go if you feel that hot bite.
Yeah, so if what I was getting at earlier is that I find more success specifically targeting big ones. And it's because I'm using historical data to back up why I'm making the decision to park the boat here.
hmm
Now, if we're fishing a park lake, all up, bro. It
Now,
really
real quickly,
they're
when you say targeting big ones, are you talking about using a big bait too? Or are you saying no, I'm
no,
targeting a
no.
big one, but I might be using a small bait?
No, I took Adam out with a spinning rod, and I was throwing a Dolan Sluggo with a Viking head, a very like tiny presentation. I had to cut the
hmm
Sluggo too, very tiny presentation. But based on what I saw when I pulled up and I side image and I saw the bait where they were not at the surface, they were in the middle. So if they're in the middle, it's like fishing the top is not going to work. Fishing the middle, I can catch the dinks. So my thought process was I want to match the hatch, right? With the size, the profile of what I'm seeing, because I know the bass are eating that, but I also want to get through all the bait and get through all
hmm
the smaller stuff quicker. And then we're fishing like 6 p.m. And I know that when we're fishing at that time, I don't want to slow dredge bait. I want to fish faster. But at the
hmm
same time, if I fish too fast reeling in, I'm out of the whole strike zone. So my
Yep.
thought process is to get down quick. So I got down quick, hit the bottom. Now that I'm there, I don't want to do anything. I just want to hold my rod there and let the swell push it in and out of
Yep.
these rock piles and keep this semi slack line where I could pay attention. And all of a sudden I see the line tick. I didn't feel the bite. Set the hook, and that was a 6 pounder I caught with Adam. And it's
So
like, but
I guess I want to amend my answer. I'm always looking for a big one, but
Yeah.
the big baits will come in at the appropriate time.
Yeah. I mean, if I want to catch a fish on a swim bait, I get the same amount of joy catching a 5 pound calico as I would a two. If anything, when I catch 1 pound calico on a 7 inch Reyes bait, I'm like, what the hell were you thinking? Fish
Yeah.
don't have mirrors, player, right? But it's like because I wanted to catch a fish on that bait. But if I
Yeah.
go out and I'm telling myself, fuck, dude, we got this new rod or we got this to promote or and it's always better to promote your rod or whatever with a bigger fish, right? It shows durability and it adds a little bit more emphasis on your catchability. There's a lot there. So we get to this spot and you got this whole wall, and it's like, why are we stopping specifically right here? And it's just like, I'm specifically targeting this rock pile, and it just so happened to have this bait on top. Now, had the bait not been there, I would have passed that spot up, but I specifically targeted that zone. And to just so that way no one thinks that that's the luck. 3 casts later, I stuck the 7 pounder with Adam. So it's like, I I specifically targeted the big fish I knew that lived there and the conditions were right. But if you're
Hmm.
going out and you know based on your history fishing these areas and things don't just look right, are we to say that you're not going to catch a big fish? Absolutely not. The luck plays
No.
like 90% of all big fish caught, I believe, comes from a lot of luck. I'd rather be lucky than good. I just want to increase my good aspect of it, right? And then if I'm lucky and I have a little bit more good, then who knows. But
If you're lucky
it
and you retied your leader recently, a lot of stuff could work out.
yeah, dude. Well, that's why I fish line now, dude. That stretch. I mean, I've grown up from fluorocarbon. I don't need it anymore. I was a big advocate of fluorocarbon for years, and now I'm just like it's a waste. If I need a fish 20 pound, but you're in a day, it's like you need to drop down that line, dude. 12 pound line triple X smoke is so strong, dude. Like so strong. If you
It
have the
is
right
crazy.
rod, and then if you're positioning yourself to when you set the hook, the current's going that way. So now you're fighting a fish in a current, you deserve to lose the fish. Period. Like, I mean, like you're. But if you take all the variables, you look at what's really going on, and you say, "This is where I'm going to park the boat. And this is where we're going to cast, and this gives us the most, the highest probability to land the fish if we hook it." Charlie's proof here. We go to a spot, I position a boat straight ahead, the swell's coming this way. We weren't really casting over like that, but I got really close. So if he did set the hook, he'd have more of a higher chance to land this fish. Now I would admit I've stuck a lot of fish there, and I've taken people to fish that same little pile, and it's like 1 out of 10. Not no more than that. You know how many times Adams bust off there? You know how many
I was
times
gonna
I've taken
say,
somebody? Yeah,
I know Charlie was on 40-pound fluorocarbon.
I was. No doubt
yeah,
about it.
he was. And if you're doing at night, you probably want to fish heavier line. I mean, obviously for abrasion, but anybody who fishes with me see I fish 20 and 25. People are like, dude, why are you
Crazy.
doing that? And in my head, I'm just like, I mean, it's like I've already caught these fish before. I'm not just going out there. I want to feel a certain type of way when I catch a fish. And if I know
Hmm.
that I leveled the playing field as much as I could with 20 pound, fishing these gnarly rocks with the reefs and coral and all that, and I land that fish, it's like it makes me feel better. But I never look down on anybody who's fishing 40 or 50. I've taken dudes out and they're fishing 40 and 50. And then, but
Guilty.
here's the biggest reason why I don't like it. I don't like it because when you do get snagged, it is a pain in the
Oh.
ass to break off, bro. And
Hmm.
I
No,
just
not
like
when you look like that.
uh, you, boo. But I've made the mistake in the past of doing that, and you have braid, and you're sitting there pulling it, it's getting tight in your reel, and then you're just like, fuck, you reel in,
No.
you try to retie,
Just
and then you
wrap it
retie,
around.
you fire out, and then next thing you know, your bait comes flying back at you, dude. No, I'm straight, dude. We'll stick to 2025, dude. Let
So are you
these
doing 20 button down drag too?
Yeah,
or are
I
you
mean,
are you
okay, it depends. Like the Curado 300, I have it like 2 clicks off of fully locked.
So you got to
Uh,
button the Curado 300 down because there's no drag.
yeah, well, you got your thumb there too.
Yeah, it's got like 6 pounds of drag.
It's just, I mean, I fish a lot of that, like the Santa Monica. I go to the reefs out there, and there's a lot of black sea bass. I like to target them. They're super fun. And if you fish a butternut drag and you stick a black sea bass, bro, you're gonna lose your lure. Like
Yeah,
you could potentially break your rod too if you have it high up there and you're setting
when
hook, and she decides to run at the same time. That's a lot of
Hmm.
weight on
dude,
on the
when
on the rod that's at 11 o'clock.
when I caught my 10 pounder, I set the hook and felt it, and immediately backed off the drag. Like you said, you're like instantly you felt it's gonna break. My line's gonna snap. The rod, something's gonna break right here.
Well,
Like
I
it
mean,
took
and you
one
got
second before I was moving to loosening that drag. Like
well,
you're
you got
definitely
your
not
thumb
incorrect
too.
about that.
what?
Yeah. You got your thumb too. Like, yeah, I used to palm my reels, and now I use a trigger and I have my thumb
Hmm.
right there. So when I set the hook, my thumb's always on that spool. And if I feel like, oh, this is a regular, I let it go, and then I'll bring them in. if
You
if I set the hook and it's a real one, I'm glad that I have 3 pounds of drag, 2 pounds of drag less.
Hmm.
With the pin fathoms, these reels have like 26, 28 pounds of drag. I never fish those
Hmm.
button up, dude. I'm
true
I'm dialed
drag?
into like they button up, dude. You know how many yellows I lost at Clementi or Catalina because I fished a button up drag? It's like
Yeah.
you're fishing for calico, next thing you know, you get a yellow that bites your bait, and she goes to pill drag, but you're butting up on a pin fathom that's
Hmm.
rated 26, 28 pounds of drag. Like, you learn your lesson real quick, and then there's a trade-off because you end up sticking a decent sized calico on the edge of kelp, and now you play this whole run the risk that she runs, and she turns her head,
Yep.
and now she's going into kelp. So I learned the happy middle ground is to thumb my spool. When I'm setting the hook, dude, I got grip lock on that spool. So if I feel like this is a real one, I let it go. If I feel like it's regular, then I go back and I'm using my index finger to or my pointing finger to turn that drag if I need to, and
Yeah.
I rarely do, dude. Once you set the hook and you pull them away from wherever they're at, you should be fine. You should.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. After I caught that big one, it's like you said, everything started getting a couple clicks from full. Where everything used
yeah.
to be buttoned, it's all now slightly backed off.
So you're
And
not
when you
fully
get
buttoned anymore, Luke?
it,
Depending if I'm on a hundo, it's buttoned. But if I'm
Even
on a
then,
150 or a 300, it's backed off a little.
even
yeah,
on
if
the
you're fit,
hundreds, I'm not even fully buttoned.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
dial it back, and then,
But you're
like
but
you're
you're
saying,
not
you go to
fishing.
that
But you're
big
not
one.
fishing 40 pound.
You're right. I'm fishing
Well,
15.
yeah,
Yeah, if I
but
was
40
fishing
pounds.
50, we're talking about 40. But if I was fishing 15, I'd be way backed off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would. I mean, if you're fishing spotties, you can have like a semi button up drag for spotties. But hey, if you're fishing, like a month ago, the halibut were coming in everywhere, right? You wouldn't want to
Yeah.
do that because if you just so happen to hit a 26-inch, 28-inch halibut and you're button up drag, well, you're gonna pop out or bust off. It
Dude,
is what it is.
I was with John from Statement, and I was on 25 and got broken off, and I caught a striper like the next day, and it was like, oh, that was now that I felt it, that was a striper yesterday, and
Yeah.
because I
Yeah,
had buttoned up drag, I lost my first striper.
yeah.
I
The
I
the
lost a halibut like maybe last month. I was fishing the crank. I was hoping it was a spotty, so I hooked into it. And I was like, "Oh, this is a solid spotty." Wind, pull, wind, pull. Just pulled the hook out, and I was like, "Oh, that was probably a halibut."
Or it was a big spotty. Who knows?
Or it was a big spotty.
Who
Don't say
knows? I
that.
mean,
It was a halibut.
yeah,
If it was a big
yeah.
spotty, then I'm giving
World
you.
record spotty, and Daniel
World
posted
record
in.
spotty and you lost it because you forced it in.
Hey guys, I hate to do it, it's time.
Seriously.
Um T, let's thanks for hopping on
Yeah, yeah.
We
and
I
appreciate
gotta go
you
check
guys.
chatting with
in with
us.
this place. Yeah,
Yeah, I
they
know.
keep on coming out, and then they're like, "You want us to sign this paper?" I'm like, "Fuck you guys, you can wait." They've
Yeah,
came to their
you
door
made me
already.
wait.
Yeah, yeah,
Told
you
them
made
the
me
same thing
wait.
he told
So,
Z-Man.
but
Right?
No,
yeah,
you should have been just been like, I'm on lunch.
yeah, I should. I could lock the doors and everything. But I do appreciate you guys for having me on. Yeah, I don't want to come off as like this arrogant dude. I sit in the sidelines and I watch everybody. I see what's going on with the industry, and there's a lot that I love. Like what you're doing, Fish RX, what you're doing, Luke, and then I think Charlie is just like the face of positivity. And if I could just like,
Charlie absolutely is the face of positivity.
I if I could say one thing to like the older heads or the dudes that's been in the game is like, don't be afraid to check some of these newer dudes in a positive way, right? We don't want to be like that Southgate Mike dude or whatever. We don't want to sit there and try to
No,
antagonize
you
people
didn't.
and
No, you didn't.
yeah. Yeah, well, I did. We don't want to do shit like I'm pretty sure the dude's probably a chill ass dude, but there's like animosity towards these young bucks coming out, and to
There's
these
a
young bucks,
positive way
don't
to talk to people.
yeah, yeah, and to these young bucks, man, don't like let this Instagram social media shit kind of dictate what type of person you're gonna be. Like, if you love fishing first. Don't
I
ask for
like
free
that.
shit. Work for your shit. And if you put in work, people will contact you, and that creates a healthier environment. What I see is a lot of these younger dudes, they expect people to just give them free shit in exchange for a post or two. But one thing that I've learned in this industry is loyalty. And in order to build loyalty, you got to go and fish a product. You got to love that product. You got to be like, that's my go-to right there. And then the owners or the marketing department people, they're gonna see you in posts, and then they'll contact you. But when you get people that contact, hey, I can make you these videos in exchange for some baits. It's like, dude, that's the wrong way to go about it. I'm against
Hey,
that type of stuff. And at the end of the day, it's like cool beans to anybody in your hustle. But I think it's up to the older dudes to kind of regulate, a lot of that stuff, because this whole fishing industry, in my opinion, is like losing one of the strongest aspects that it's always had, which is integrity. It's always been about you work, you go out and fish, you put in the work, you catch fish, and that's what's most important. And if you just so happen to get acknowledged, that's a blessing, right? Nowadays, people think I'm gonna put work to get the blessing and skip the other aspects of it. And I wanted to talk. I just wanted to briefly say that because I know there's a lot of people in the industry that feel the same way. Hopefully, shit, I might just be ranting right now. This guy, look at this mean ass truck driver. But that
hey,
that's something that.
re-
Go ahead, Bo.
well, I want to touch on that real quick because I agree with you. And I at one point did contact a company, and there's a right way to do it. And I feel that I just want to, I'm not going to say the company, but it's a company I still deal with. And I said, hey guys, I just want to let you know I've been fishing your product for 6 months. I really like it. I'm going to continue to fish it. But if you want to work something out, here's my YouTube channel, here's my Instagram, and we can go from there. But if not, I'm going to continue to fish your product because I believe it's the best in this forum. And they got
You
back
know,
to me, and they got back to me, and they said, "So what's the deal? You do X amount of posts for X amount of product?" I said, "No, I'm just going to keep doing what I do. I'm going to fish it. I'm going to talk about it. When I catch on it, I'll post it, and you know, if the quality is there, which is why I'm using it, and I'll just continue." And it's a company I still deal with. They give me stuff for my charters, and like I said, there's a right way to do it, not just like, hey, I'll make a couple posts for this. There
Yeah.
was the
but
background of I've been using this. This is what I like. If you want to work something out, cool. If not, I'm going to keep using your stuff because I like it. Not, and if we can't work something out, I'm moving on.
so, and I didn't want to bring it up to sit here and try to shit on people. I would say the blame is probably people like me not having said things in the past. The blame falls on this current generation, my generation, for not trying to like teach and try to not lecture, but like just say, hey, you don't want to do this. Because remember, there was an old man that once told me we let the big ones go and we eat these ones because, and he
Mhm.
put me up on game. These little subtle things that the old timers told me when I was 14, when I was 16, 17, 12, that stuck with me. Now, who's those guys to these younger guys? You know, that's the issue. So I don't blame them if they see Logan Paul and all these like TikTokers and streamers like Kai and whatever, and they think, fuck, dude, if I grow a following, I can make tons of money. And then they're like, well, this fishing shit is expensive. I'll just have them send me stuff. And they miss the like loyalty aspect of it. I don't blame them, bro. I blame people like me and my generation for not speaking up. And that's why if I was gonna be here, I wanted to make sure I get to say that because I know there's people in here that totally agree. You know how many people don't fish iRods just because I didn't give them an iRod? And then when they got an iRod, that's all of a sudden they're starting to fish it. People expect free shit. And it's just like you're missing the whole purpose of fishing, why it differentiates from every other hobby out there. You got to put in work. You got to go to work to buy the rods, the reels, the baits, the lines, and hopefully you put in a lot of work. You can buy you a bait or a boat, and then you go fish
And
tournaments. And but they miss that, you know, and
Mhm.
that's why that's why I
n-
wanted to bring it up. I didn't want to make it
not to
about
cut
that
you
too
off,
much.
but also to kind of touch upon something you said earlier, you go, if I sold too little or bought too much, that could be the difference between no rent and rent. There's a lot of people who don't know behind the scenes for each brand, whether or not you're big or you're little, everybody's got their own expenses, but it's like you don't know what we're dealing with day to day. And then it's like,
And
you expect this free
and
stuff and then want to potentially futuristically badmouth us. Oh, he blew me off, or he didn't give me any free stuff.
And then that's a lack of accountability. That's a lack of awareness as to how to conduct business in this industry. And ultimately, there's a lack of integrity there. So many people lack integrity and they've replaced it with a sense of entitlement. They feel entitled to get things. They feel that, no, if you want me to do something for you, you have to do this for me first. And it's like,
Mhm.
bro,
Yeah.
you take the initiative to go fish? Okay, stay on that path. Don't take the initiative to tell them to take initiative. When did we switch this? When did we switch this? And when does you getting like 8,000 followers make you something? When does you getting 4, 5, 6,000 followers make you a stick? You know what I mean? And these kids, they don't. It's like they don't know. There's no clear path, so everybody's just like throwing darts and stuff like that. No one, no one wants to take a step back and be like, "Huh, is this the right thing to do as a human being?" And I hope that like by me sharing this and it maybe two people in that comment section because I can't see who's commenting, right? But if there's like two people who agree with me that fit in this generation that goes and tells two people and goes and tells two people, similar to like burning a spot, right? You tell one person and he brings a friend and he brings two friends and he brings three friends, and next there's 100 people fishing that creek off the freeway, right? A spot gets burnt, right? But okay, let that happen. But what like this type of information, and to the newer guys, like keep doing you, but just don't expect handouts. Keep doing
Dude,
you, and don't look down on a company because they weren't down to give you something because they may not have been in a position to give you anything. When I said there's a lot of people that don't fish iRods, it's because this company asked me, "Can you donate to my Christmas thing?" And I'm like, "I can't, bro. I'm trying to buy Christmas presents for my kids. And you want me to give you, this 150, $200 rod? I paid for all the rods that I gave away." And then it's like, "I'm sorry, I can't do it." Bro, unfollowed. Next thing you know,
I
there's a
just
group chat. And there's like now they're telling their guy and their guy and their guy, and then it gets back to a guy who knows me, and then that guy tells me, "Hey, what happened with this person?" I was like, "I didn't give him a rock because I couldn't." Well, yeah, he's like, "Fuck you." And then me from Compton, small and angry guy, I'm just like, "Well, let me hit this guy up," and you know what I mean? So I call the guy, "Oh, what the fuck's
uh,
your problem? What are you talking about?" "Okay, dude, like that's how you are, bro. That's some bitch made shit where It's like, oh, no one ever pays me in gum. People do that, and I think people are like that because there's a sense of entitlement, and people expect. And it's just like the only thing you can expect is you're either gonna get skunked or you're gonna catch a fish. That's it, bro. That's the only thing you can expect with fishing. You're either gonna get skunked or you catch a fish. And if you think outside the box, maybe there's three because you learned something. I like to go on the third one a little bit more often than not, but take those words for what it is, dude. Me and Charlie is working on something great. I love what you guys are doing. I love the name change. It kind of looks like one of my Viagra pill set, but I love the name. I'm just playing, dude. I
Look,
just playing.
that's what
Fish
fishing
RX.
does.
Hey,
Hey,
dude, do something with like a pill thing, and it said get your fix.
Already
already
done.
on its
Already
already
doing
on
Already,
its
it.
way.
already
Look,
drawn up.
Oh,
have have
it,
you seen that?
hey,
Have you seen that meme that's like you work hard, but I work hard.
Hey,
I like
We're
that.
not the same.
I
That's
real
how it's
quick.
gonna be with fishing.
I want to expand on what T said a little bit, and I'm gonna name two companies in particular, maybe three: Waterman's Collective, Sudden Impact, Blacktail Hooks. I get stuff from those guys.
Okay,
If I don't have it, I will go to the store and buy it so I have it on the boat on the weekend. And
okay. Let me
but
ask you before
hold on
you.
real quick before I just want to finish this point. If what you're fishing, if you run out and you're not willing to go buy it instead of waiting for the next shipment, do you really believe in that product?
Mm-hmm.
Do you will
Yeah,
do you really believe in it? Because these any product I'm talking about, I will go if I'm out of it, I will go buy it before I wait on another shipment to show up.
that's. Are you utilizing the products because you believe in the product? Was what you're saying. That's the correct way to go about it. Chances are you purchased the product, you fished the product, and then they reached out to you because they saw the value of marketing. And then as you got to know Shannon, you realize this guy's the coolest guy in the fucking world. Now you develop this relationship. You see how loyalty to the brand because you had this like preconceived notion that these baits work for me. I love these baits, right? So now you develop that loyalty with them. What I'm getting at and what I see nowadays, people don't even want to spend their money on baits.
Yep.
So it's like, and then it turns into this two-faced shit that I hate in the industry, and I see the pros do it. And there's a lot of pros right now struggling out there, and I kind of sit back. I show no sympathy. I kind of laugh at them. I'll explain this really quick. These new wave guys on social media, they think because they have a following, they reach out to get this stuff. And then they go and they tell people who are following them, these are the best baits in the world. These are the best baits in the world. Go check out this link in description. There's like, bro, these ain't the best baits in the world. You haven't fished every bait, number one. And number two, they're
Hmm.
only the best because they give them to you for free. They're only the best because you worked out some deal with your content creation.
Hmm.
So now you're a liar. That's what I never liked about the pros. The pros, I won't say his name. He was one of my
Don't
favorite
say it.
professional fishermen. Okay, he's one of my favorite
Hey,
professional fishermen. He's from up north. He wins this Walmart Dream Package to fish FLW. He worked with a company that I really did not like their rods. First off, they're super parabolic, but I respected the shit out of this guy. Follow him on Facebook, follow every single move that he did, and I learned a lot from when he talked. And then all of a sudden, this smaller rod company gives him a signature series of rods. And it's like they've been investing in this guy from the jump, helped him with his entry fees for tournaments and things of that. And you see this relationship, you're like, that is fucking awesome. And all of a sudden, Favorite Rods come out, which is owned by some billionaire company that's buying all these other companies. They offer him a little bit of change for some strange, and he dumps this company to get the money. And I sat there and I'm like, well, fuck this guy, dude. Because that's the type of dude that you wave a little bit of money, he'll go burn your spot.
hmm.
That's the type of dude that you wave a little money, he'll tell you where, hey, that guy's fishing over there. I don't like that. But loyalty is like big, dude. Well, I may not answer the phones and all that stuff because I'm busy, or I may forget shit, but like I will be loyal to you. I will go down for you. And I have friends that I feel the same, and it goes back to that same thing, loyalty, integrity, all that shit that made fishing fishing, I feel like is slowly starting to die off because of the social media stuff. But it's not the kids' fault, bro. It's our fault because there's nobody in our generation really going out there talking about it. When I used to do
Right?
fish on, I ran those lives. I always fucking talked about a point. Every single time I did one of my giveaways, before I gave anything away, I talk about something I felt was important to try to give a little bit of piece of my background and history into what I saw was going wrong or right. I gave flowers when I needed to, and I shit on foods behind closed doors. And that's what made me me and me with fish all and why it did good. But if you guys are listening and you're older and you feel like you're in my realm and you kind of vibe what I'm doing, share this. Share how you're feeling. If you see someone messing up, don't run up on them. Don't disrespect them. They're oblivious, bro. They don't know what they're doing. But if you try to tell them and they're stubborn, they're too far into their ways, fuck them, dude. Let them
Hey,
go about
Charlie,
their
go
business.
go ahead and post this comment that's like three back from Dragon's Breath. T, you got a big fan in here.
Yep.
He doesn't like your guests on the show. He thinks you should have people like, to name a few, Poe, C's, and Cody. I guess he doesn't realize that they've been on here. Poe hasn't, but C's and Cody have been on here. But yeah, you need to start doing your guests better because he's not liking the three of us.
It's fine. You got
Yeah.
Luke
I
So
mad.
think
That's
that
for sure.
don't worry, Dragon's Breath. The three of us won't be on T's next show.
nah. Hey,
He'll
look.
have some better fishermen on the next show.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. And I know when you read comments like that, I mean, I appreciate I'll take the positivity out of it. I appreciate it. But, you have to look what kind of Dolan said earlier, like people don't know what's going on behind, closed doors and how we are. These gentlemen take time out of their day every week to do this. And it's free. It's free. And yeah, there's like ad revenue, but you have to work to that. And is it a lot? Is it life changing? Absolutely not. This is more of like a hobby thing. And to sit here and say you don't like somebody or you don't like the three of them, that's wild to me. And I think those type of comments is is unnecessary. I see them a lot when the Hallie Queen, she did the whole white sea bass thing. I talked to Charlie, I talked to Adam, I talked to a lot of people. I said the person I like the least, and fishing related or not, is a person that sits in the dwelling waiting to pounce on the opportunity to shit on somebody. That's to me, that's the worst type of person. Somebody that's just sitting back there and somebody makes this mistake and they're like, hey, look, 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 look. Holly Queen, she made a mistake. She deserved all the flame that she gets. You know who deserves more of the flame? Her sponsors. These and these companies nowadays, they need to do a better job at vetting the people that they bring on board. I've brought in Charlie, I have Adam, we have Noah, we have Brian. We had so many people come in that are fishing iRods now, but every single one of them that's fishing the iRods or has some type of incentive with iRod, there's a
Hmm.
vetting process. Then you see people will make comment like, "Oh, these new iRod guys, they ain't shit. You need to bring back Poe and Huff." And it's just like, "Hey, I didn't boot them out.
Oh,
You know,
you did see the comments.
I did. Someone sent me that, and I'm like, I like you making
It
it
was it
seem
was
like
Charlie the whole time
But look,
commenting on
trick. But dude, it's come to the point where it's like whatever. You have your
yeah.
comments.
I'll bring it back. Look, I don't want it to end on this like shitty shitload ranting. We have, and I said this at seminars I did at Savon. There's nothing more beautiful than fishing, and I truly believe in this because it doesn't matter what race you are, how old you are, what you identify as nowadays. I guess it doesn't matter if you catch big fish, small fish, how much money you make. The water is a even playing field. None of that matters when we share the rail. If me and you on a boat and you look around, you're gonna see black people, Asian people with yellow braid. You're gonna see this white dude with his big five setup. You're gonna see this white dude with a Trinidad. There's so many different types of people in there. There's ballers on the boat. There's poor people on the boat. It don't fucking matter. Any one of them guys can catch jackpot fish,
Hmm.
but every single person is gonna have a good time, except for the guy that gets seasick. It's just like
Yep.
that's what we have in fishing. That's the most beautiful thing about fishing, and people are just like they don't understand that. They never understand. It's like, bro, I said this on a post. You have arms, you have legs, you breathe, bro. You woke up this morning like, bro, you blessed. Be blessed. Like straight up, just be blessed. You see something you don't like on social media, don't go in there, comment, don't be little Twitter fingers, bro. You don't need all that. All that's unnecessary, bro. That's why I keep to myself. And I think what I'm happy about, I will say that from what I see on the outside looking in, because I have been quiet, I would say overall, 95%, at minimum, 95% of people are good fucking people in our our local community. Good
We have
fucking
a
people.
we have a
And
great local scene.
we do.
We do.
95% of people who I see, bro, are good fucking people. And and nowhere you go is gonna be 100% good people. Not you couldn't go to one fucking church and tell me it's 95% good people in that church. They're going in there because they did some bad shit last week. They're trying to repent. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I go on the boat because it's
Last
my
week,
day
last
off.
night.
We're we're not the same, but yeah, like I hope people just see that. And I think you see that. You three see that. So if you ever get somebody to send you guys some shade, just understand that that's part of the process.
It
Just
is.
understand, just understand that not everybody is going to vibe with you, but everyone is going to have opinion. But everybody who has an opinion, not every single one of them is going to state their opinion. The mass majority of people are going to keep their opinions to themselves. It's those people that have this sense of entitlement. They want to be like, no, and it's just like, I don't care. Like, who is this guy? Your statement stings. It does. But that's as far as it goes. People say so much about what we're doing with iRod, and I'm like, I care less, dude. So many people DM and said that Adam don't deserve a rod. It's like, who the fuck are you to tell me that he doesn't
Yeah,
deserve something? I promised the
I
guy
rod
something.
giving a rod to anyone that'll
Yeah,
catch a spotty.
yeah. Hey, iRod to give, it should be Garibaldi. It should be, it should like, hey, dude, if you just like say this is a Mexico, whatever. But I rather give a rod to anybody that's willing to go buy a fucking iRod. And I would admit, when I was with Fishaw, I gave iRods away like hotcakes. And it was because I felt like I had to with the marketing side of it, not just for Fishaw, but for iRod. And I learned those are the mistakes that you learn. I gave away $23,000 worth of rods, reels, and baits. This is not including apparel, bro. This is not including the boat rides. This is not including the shit that I did to help people with their events. That's just what I gave away. 20% of what I made, for the last year and a half went to just giving away shit. At the end of the day, dude, it's like you don't need to do that. I learned now that you don't need to give anything away because when you give away the people with their hand out, they're the only ones that's going to
Hmm.
be there. But the people that's going to support you, they have their hands closed, bro, with a reel and a rod already in their hand. They're fishing,
Yep.
So
We had a conversation when I was first starting bait slingers where you said something along the lines of you get the fortune of learning from my mistakes.
and I am an open book, dude. I want to see you win. I want to see because in my thought process is simple, dude. You make it big, your net worth is your network. That's just like I've told that to so many people that I've interacted with. I had this idea that we're all trying to come up, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help you come up because one of us is going to make it. And if one of us make it, we all made it. That's how do you think Jewish people go from $0 to millionaires? You get nine of them in a room and they sit there and they work their asses off for a common goal. And the one guy makes it and he gets into this realm and he takes all his people in. That's the Jewish way. It
Hmm.
is, and I have Jewish homies that told me that. I know Jewish owners of trucking companies that have told me that. And the Asians do it too. The Vietnamese, especially, they bring their families. They put four families in a house. They all work for this one guy. He moves out. Another family comes in. He moves out. Another, and the next, you got these Vietnamese that own blocks because they're not selfish, and they know how to invest. So when I tell you, dude, I hope that you make it. I really do hope that you make it. And if anybody had any questions or concerns, or you wanted some information as to how to's or something, if I know you, I will invest whatever I can to help you out. Because I know if I needed help, I can ask each one of you guys for help.
I
And
love
For
it.
sure.
we can't say that about
For sure.
everybody, but we can say that about somebody, and that's what makes us blessed. I appreciate you guys. These guys keep on coming out with
Yeah,
this
But yeah,
super,
man,
you
thanks a
said
lot,
that
T.
word.
Thanks a
You
lot
gotta
for
go.
coming. Hey, thanks a lot for coming on the
of
show.
course.
Appreciate you, man.
Yes,
I know
sir.
we could go on and on and on, but we'll just have to do another one.
Hey
Hey,
T,
we'll
we'll
just have
see
it
you on the
on.
water.
All right, peace
You
out.
probably, if you're at
Much love, you
Alondra, you
guys.
will. Hey, don't count your blessings, pass them. Out.
Hey, thanks,
Absolutely.
T.
Hey, thanks
Later.
for watching,
Peace.
fellas.